Hey kids! Woohoo! Welcome to yet another episode of Bad Pop Song,
Yes.
the show where we take you on my wondrous carpet ride into my beautiful carnival candy-like universe of musical cringe, movie reviews, critique, discussion, and such like.
And juggling, right?
Oh, well, do you juggle?
No.
Oh, can you?
No.
Oh,
Can you?
I got a book once.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I like was practicing a little bit, and I don't know. Once I felt like I was kind of getting the hang of it, I was kind of like, I'm over it. It's not like I'm going to join the circus anytime soon.
Right. I just don't have the hand-eye coordination for that.
Although if I were to do it all again early in my young adult years, I don't know. I probably would have tried to pursue a circus life. Okay. Maybe I should have gone to
run away and join the circus.
Maybe I should have gone to clown college or something.
Oh, there you go.
I mean, I am from Florida, so
It's true. I follow the stretch.
Yeah.
What would your clown name be?
Bo. I think that's a very suitable clown name.
Yeah.
Bobo the clown.
Bobo the clown.
Yeah, it's a name for clowns and dogs.
Oh yeah.
But
clowns dressed as dogs.
I actually think Bo is a very uniquely cool name. It's unique in this part of the world.
Mm-hmm.
You don't meet a lot of bows,
right?
I don't know. I've always liked my name.
Yeah.
So, yeah, to no surprise to any of you, this is yet another movie episode.
Oh, cool.
So, I promise you, I'll get back to
actual bad pop songs,
to some cringy music. But you might have to wait till the next, the next collection of episodes.
Dumping.
Yeah. But anyway, I did want to talk about this particular film.
Okay.
It was the debut film by Sam and Andy Zuchero. It is a film called Love Me. And Love Me stars Stephen Yeun and Kristen Stewart.
Okay.
And it is definitely, would I describe this? It's like it's a sci-fi love story.
Okay.
It kind of has some WALL-E.
Okay.
It reminds me a little bit of WALL-E,
All right.
a little, very, very small. But it
which part of the film, the trashed Earth or the fancy pants?
Well, it is Earth long after humans were gone.
Okay.
Yeah, so there's that similarity. And the Stephen Yeun character is actually just like the satellite. So so
okay.
The movie is basically about a satellite and a buoy who are left over. They're the only two things that exist on Earth after the humans have after climate change has ridden the world of humans.
All right.
So the only thing that's left is like kind of orbiting the Earth and floating around in the water is the satellite orbiting, and then the buoy in the water.
And somehow they're sentient?
Yes, they teach each other to be sentient, and one of them convinces the buoy convinces the satellite that she is a life form.
Okay.
When she's actually not.
Right.
But he eventually figures out that she's not, and he doesn't care. But it's a very, very interesting film.
Okay.
I want to start out by saying this is a movie that I'd wanted to see it for a very, very long time, but just could not access it. It premiered at Sundance 2024.
Mm-hmm.
And it was it was one of those movies that I was not assigned
Oh yeah.
to
So
see.
you didn't get the opportunity to
I
see
didn't
it.
get an opportunity to see it, so I had to wait a year until it finally got like mainstream release. Basically, a year being like January, February of this year.
Okay.
And I saw it with Laurie and Jessica actually.
Oh hey.
Yeah. And so yeah, it took a really long time for me to see it. And of course my big draw was of course Kristen Stewart and Stephen Yeun. I mean, there's both very very passionate
Okay.
performers.
All right.
Very thoughtful in their roles.
Okay.
And Kristen Stewart in particular, again, she likes meaty roles. I think she did like stuff like Twilight, so she could have the money to just pick whatever she wanted to do.
Right, do the important stuff.
And she's done nothing but that since Twilight. She is not only an indie darling. I mean, she picks very challenging roles. She puts so much. You can tell she puts so much work in all her performances because nothing's ever half-assed with her. Same with Stephen Yeun. And Stephen Yeun not only is an actor, he's a producer, he's a director, he's a writer, he's everything.
Okay.
But so the two of them together as like a couple, in a sci-fi romance is just something I just had to see, and I hated that it took me a year. I had to wait a year to see it, but I was blown away. I
had to finish its festival circuit.
I wasn't disappointed, and I know I probably should have talked about this earlier in the year with you, but I decided to. I don't know. I just kind of put it on the shelf.
You needed to let it, simmer, digest.
Well, it's now readily available on streaming.
Ah,
yeah. Like I think you can find it like on Paramount Plus and things like that.
Okay.
So
tell me about what is the medium of this film? Because it sounds like it could be, like you say, it was WALL-E for all intents and purposes. So now I'm imagining these 3D animated objects with the characters' voices and stuff. But I'm getting the impression that's not exactly it.
Excuse me. Okay, so I'll tell you about the beginning. Basically, you see a far off Earth in space, and then you see it like in flames.
Okay.
And I guess that's pretty much the extinction of humanity right there. And then somewhere way after, I would say, 2,500, whatever, all you see is the satellite orbiting Earth, and then you see this buoy in the water awakening, and they both discover each other.
Okay.
And the buoy clearly wants to have Kristen Stewart is the buoy, and she wants to have some kind of meaningful existence, even though she feels like, I'm just only a buoy, but I feel like there's something out there I want to live, whatever. So she goes back, she's able to access like people's Google searches, and that's how she learns how to be a life form. How she, from watching
from the internet.
That's
a horrible way to learn how to be human.
Which is the whole point. That's because that's how we are living right now.
Yeah.
Everything is, and so she discovers these two. She discovers this couple who are internet influencers back in the human era. Yeah. And they're just very vapid influencers.
Yeah.
And the girl's
Hawken
name is
products.
the girl's name is Deja, and the guy's name is Liam. And of course, that's Kristen Stewart and Stephen Yeun. And she's like, okay, I'm Deja, and they're just like this mushy couple, and they have like these onesie pajamas, and they do one of those meal prep kits, and they watch Friends, and they sing the Friends theme, and they're very pretty and very filtered. And this is how the Bowie thinks life should be.
That poor Bowie.
So she takes on the persona of Deja and just calls herself me. And then she starts making her own kind of whatever's left of the internet, because the internet is still out there, whatever. It's just there's no humans.
It's still ticking for whatever reason.
So she creates her own profile, like a Facebook profile or something, calls herself me, but really she's just like copying pasting shit from Deja's life. And then she presents it to the satellite, who is called I Am. And I Am at first is very much like an Alexa. He's like, I can help you with that. I don't understand you. Oh, that's how he talks.
Right.
But she's teaching him to be more like Deja and Liam. She wants him to be like Liam to her. And so she teaches him about memes, and and like, you're supposed to post you're the things you post are supposed to be funny. So he's experimenting with making all these different memes, and then he finally comes up with one. It's like this cat with or maybe it's a dog, it's some kind of pet with a Cheetos bag on its head. And it's like his sort of, and the meme is like, it's some robotic way of saying be yourself.
Yeah.
And she didn't like the wording, and because he's robotic, he couldn't think of any other way.
Right.
Yeah. And then he gets I think he feels hurt, and then he tries to explain what he's saying, and he finally gets to the point where he says, oh, I'm trying to say, it's a meme that says, just be you be you. That's basically what it, which is so corny, right? That's like the latest thing, you be you, and then she eventually liked it. So then they become like this animated version of themselves. So they're so now you're seeing animated versions of Stephen Yeun and Kristen Stewart,
All right.
Liam and Deja, and they're doing the same thing that they did in these influencer videos. They're watching Friends. They're doing, they're making food from the weekly food delivery service, like fajitas or something,
hawking
like that.
All their wares.
Yeah. Because influencers, advertise, products and stuff like that. So they've got the meal plan, and they're doing the same thing every day. And I Am starts to realize that there's more to life than this. And there's more out there than just this existence. Why are we doing the same thing every night? Why are we doing the same sort of meal service thing? This is always the fajitas. Why are we watching Friends all the time? That's all we do. There's a date night. Why do we always do that? And then it kind of wakes her up to the fact that, like, this is I'm me. And I think that all sort of just ties into the whole theme of just like trying to be yourself or whatever, which he seems to be failing at. But yeah. And I think she realizes it. So she realizes that this is not like a meaningful, thoughtful existence.
Yeah.
So she leaves him. She just she sinks back into the ocean and just shuts down for billions of years. So I am is left alone, but I am learns to create his own life. Yeah.
He's inspired.
Yes, he is inspired, and he reviews her search engine, and he reviews
Her history.
her history in the Google search engine, and sees all the influencer stuff. And then so he realizes, even though she's convinced him she's a life form, he realizes that she's not a life form.
Mm-hmm.
So he builds his own life. He learns how to just make water, and water tastes the way water should make. And then he learns how to make ice cream, and then he creates the entire, they live in this really this beautiful kind of a high-rise condo sort of.
All right.
And he just develops it. He turns it into a really nice comfortable place to live.
Okay.
And then he's no longer animated. He's Steven Yeun now is live action. I Am is now,
he becomes real.
Yeah, he becomes real,
quote unquote.
And so he's been doing this for billions of years, and all he does is he builds furniture and
I guess leave a satellite alone for millions of years, and eventually would learn how to be human.
And then through the Google, he's able to realize, okay, this existed when humans were around, so I can invent my own version of it too. So that's where he comes up with ice cream and all these different kinds of foods. And so, but he's really just developed his space.
Right.
You're right. There's still all this out there, but what both of them don't realize is that they have access to the whole world out there.
Right.
Yes. Because they're it. So billions of years pass. Bowie wakes up, and she finds him in the high-rise condo, the fancy high-rise condo, and she discovers, she's also very fascinated that she is now live action, and he shows her what he's been doing this whole time. And what he's built, it was building a shelf and everything. And then he gives her water for the first time, and she's like, oh my God, this is amazing. He gives her ice cream for the first time. She's like, oh my God, this is amazing. She's like, I can't believe you did all this. And he's like, I can do everything. We can do everything. So they clearly are falling in love with one another. They're becoming more and more sentient. But she wants to go back to sort of being Deja and Liam. So she wants to get married, and she wants to have a family, and she's making all that happen. But
because that's what her opinion of what
she thinks
should be doing.
She thinks that's what that a life form should be doing, because that was what she saw on Google.
Yeah,
people falling in love, getting married, and having children.
Right.
And Liam's like, we don't have to do any of this stuff.
Right.
And but then she's insistent. It's like, you don't love me for me. And he's like, I'm telling you, I love you for exactly who you are. And then So basically, she kind of forces a wedding on him, and then she forces a baby on him, but then he's able to make all that go away because it's not what he wants. And so,
and he grasps the idea of they can do anything.
Yes. Well, he's known that now for a long time.
Right.
Because he's had billions of years to think about it. And it takes her a minute to realize it too, that she doesn't, life forms don't have to have this kind of existence.
Yeah.
Yes.
You don't have a set script that you're trying to live to.
Right. And especially since they're the only two that exist now. Yeah. So,
well, until they find another sentient traffic light or something.
So she finally gets it. And then they make love, but then they learn how to make love in a way that they change it up Like sometimes it's a very gender bending kind of a love scene, because they start out being the two of them, and then one of them looks kind of gender bending. There's a lot of different gender identities that they turn into as their in their lovemaking, and that has to do with the whole like we can do whatever we want,
right?
And then basically at the end of the movie, they are living in a fully developed city, and it's basically just like New York, but it's like New York the way they want it to be, And they're like, well, and they're just sitting in the bedroom. So what should we do for dinner? And he's like, well, let's go out to eat. Just like, okay, let's go out to eat. And well, when they first say that, you're just like, oh, I didn't realize that they could go outside, but they've learned that they've created a whole other. So
they're constantly expanding their horizons.
Yes. So who knows? They may have created a whole other, but I don't think so, because I don't think they're like reproducing or anything like that. Because again, they're still just a buoy and a satellite.
Right. And all this is just happening within their databanks.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you get it.
Yeah.
So that is Love Me. I pretty much just gave the whole movie away.
That's perfectly fine, because that's a lot to take in. That is a very thinky film.
I loved it because I think it feeds into just current humanity.
Yeah.
We all live a certain way because we feel like we have to live that way, because we've been taught that that's how we have to live, or we've observed, that this is, on social media and television, that this is the way we're supposed to live. And in actuality, we don't have to do any of that.
Right.
Which I think is so beautiful. What is so beautiful about the film. So it was definitely worth the year's waiting for it. So,
not to mention commenting on the current situation, the internet culture.
Yeah.
The vapidness of it all.
The total vapidness of it all.
Influencers.
But yeah, the meal plan thing definitely cracked me up.
Oh, yeah.
Because Jason and I were doing the meal plan thing for a while, which, don't get me wrong, those meal plan things are great. Like,
perfectly fine, as long as you don't mind having a lot of boxes and bags full of frozen things that you can't dispose of properly.
Yeah, you know what? You learn how to get around that. It depends on the food service. Like, HelloFresh in particular, they make their stuff very easily. Like they make it like this can go right into the recycle bin, the way that they package things and stuff like that. And they tell you specifically how you can dispose of things properly and that sort of thing. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. But I don't know, maybe that is relevant, but it was just funny because, in the influencer videos, Deja and Liam are just like, oh yeah, it's date night. And then they've got like said food service, whatever, in the box. And then, she opens it up, and there's like, you see the recipe and, you have we're going to cook dinner. And it's just, clearly influencer advertising, that sort of thing. So, but yeah, I liked it. I like them. I like anything that tells you to break the mold, to, anything that like tells you existence is limitless, because that's how I live my life.
Yeah.
I don't feel limited in any way at all. Even when I am limited as far as like finances and resources and things like that, I find a way to not feel limited, That makes sense.
Oh yeah.
But I think that's something beautiful about this particular film. So yes, Love Me. It is I think it's available on all streaming platforms, and if you have to pay, it's probably not a lot. So I recommend it.
Cool. What kind of rating would you give this film?
More than most critics gave it.
Yeah.
A lot of critics poo-pooed this film.
Aww.
But I don't know. I'd give it a solid 4 stars.
4 stars. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's a pretty good film then.
I liked it.
All right. All right. Would you play this at your film festival? Yes. Okay.
Yes.
When about?
I would give this a really... I don't know when I would give this. I definitely wouldn't give it a primetime screening.
Would it be like a late afternoon?
Although I
maybe
might...
brunch.
I might, just because of the acting power, though. Just because of the muscle in it. You got...
And those are the only two actors for the entire...
The whole movie is just those two.
Oof.
Yeah. And then, of course, there's also little... In their creating, there's always, there's like... standby kind of passerby types,
cameos or not cameos, but walk-ons.
Yeah, because of course they had
extras.
They had to have like extras at their wedding and things like that. Stuff like that. But no, really, the film is basically just Steven Yeun and Kristen Stewart.
Wow.
So,
well, you still don't know when you would.
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't know. Do you have an opinion?
I don't know.
I mean, I want to give it a prime time because of its star power.
Right.
But at the same time, I think it's one of those movies that's like...
It strikes me, based on your description of it, that it is a conversation piece. It requires decompression afterwards and discussion and really delving into the messages that it was trying to convey.
So late afternoon,
possibly,
so people can have
they can go to dinner.
They can have
chat about
a little after film aperitif.
Yeah,
and then go on to the big prime time thing.
There you go.
Yeah. Okay, mid afternoon then.
All right.
Yeah.
See, there's not necessarily a bad spot in a film festival. It's just that each spot is pertinent towards the message that you wanted to provide. We haven't figured out what the purpose of the 8 a.m. film is yet.
Oh, those are the movies that get the like, they're still technically good, but there's, I don't know, there's maybe something off with the screenwriting, or there's something off about the acting. The morning screenings they're good enough for a film festival, but they're not like the greatest.
Yeah, the fillers.
Yeah, fillers.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
or there could be like those niche movies too. This could be a niche movie too. This is not, again, critics crapped on this movie.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like I'm the only person that loved this movie.
It strikes me as not appealing to a lot of people.
But I just like the relevance of it all. I think how it used search engines and social media to prove that, like,
that's not what makes humans human.
Yeah, people, yeah. And then that before the extinction of humans, we were just, we were just, this was it. This is
not all of us are living our lives to the fullest.
Influencing and that's the amount of it all. How pointless. Terrible. And I think the film did a really good job at showing how stupid and pointless that was, especially when you see Steven Yeun by himself creating. I am creating everything. Just nice. Yeah.
It's inspiring.
There's this really great scene where he's sitting there with all these glasses of water and they all taste different. And then he finally tastes the one that was like, this is it. This is how water should taste. And that was it.
It'll blow his little computer brain to know that water tastes different no matter wherever you go.
So at least drinking water from a high-rise condo.
True. Maybe been through some filters and stuff, water softeners, what have you. Well, anyways, yeah. Anything else you want to talk about on this one, or I think we've covered everything we want to discuss?
I think so.
Cool. Alrighty then. I will bring up my little script and wrap things up. So, thank you for watching this episode of Bad Pop Song. Remember to check out the website, badpopsong.com, for everything Bo. Latest episodes, links to the songs and films and crap that we talk about here. And also be sure to like and subscribe Bad whatever this podcast is called.
Badpopsong.com.
Yeah, subscribe to us on YouTube.
Yeah.
Bad Pop Song.
Yes.
And all kinds of other fun stuff. Tune in next time when Bo continues to invite us into his magical, wondrous bubblegum world of all things media, music, and things that make you cringe.
Yes.
Rock on. Until then, I'm Dan.
I'm Bo.
Have fun.
Stay groovy.